If you're listening to this, chances are you've been there. That feeling of professional quicksand. You're sending out applications, you're getting nothing back.
Total silence.
Total silence. You know you're qualified, but you just feel completely stuck, maybe undervalued, or you're facing that really demoralizing quiet after months of unemployment.
It's an incredibly common scenario. I mean, the modern job market, it's just built with these layers of automated filters and, very specific cultural expectations.
Exactly. And that feeling, that gap between your potential and your reality is what we're digging into today.
That old advice of just have one good resume, it's dead. It just doesn't work anymore.
It's completely obsolete. So our mission today is to look at a stack of sources that describe a professional service that's built to fix these exact problems. The company's name is, well, it's very intentional, Professional CV Crafting and Career Door Openers.
Right.
We're not just going to look at what they offer, but really analyze what the existence of these very tailored services tells us about the job hunt today.
And the sources, they immediately lay out 4 high-stakes pain points that push people to look for this kind of help. It confirms everything you just said.
Okay, what are they?
It's when you feel stuck or really seriously undervalued.
What?
Or when you're trying to make a big jump in salary. A career change is another big one.
A total pivot.
A total pivot, yeah. And critically, when you're dealing with long-term unemployment and you just have to break that cycle, these aren't small problems. The stakes are.
Yeah.
They're incredibly high.
And what's immediately clear from their services is that they get it. They know one document can't possibly do all those things.
No way.
The services are so segmented, it suggests they really understand that different countries, different industries, even different websites need completely different documents. It's a tailored approach for a complex world.
That segmentation is, I think, the key insight we need to unpack here.
Okay, let's do it. Let's start with the foundational conflict they seem to address, which is basically the machine versus the human. They offer 2 standard options right out of the gate: the sleek modern CV and the ATS compliant CV. And that alone just highlights the competing demands of applying for a job.
What's fascinating there is the recognition that you have to please 2 totally different gatekeepers. The sleek modern CV, that's all about aesthetic appeal.
For the human eye.
It's for the human eye, exactly. Optimized for visual flow, maybe a bit of color, some white space, anything to make an impression on a hiring manager who's only going to look at it for, 10 seconds?
But if you lead with that, you hit the technical hurdle, right? If it's too sleek, the machine just says no.
And that's where the ATS compliance service is so critical.
Precisely. The applicant tracking system, or ATS, that's the software that almost every large company and even a lot of mid-sized ones are using now.
So when you upload your CV, it's not going to a person. It's being parsed by a robot. And this is where most applicants fail before they even get started.
So let's dig into that technical side. What does ATS compliant actually mean? Why are those beautiful, graphically rich templates getting rejected?
ATS compliance is all about acknowledging the machine's limits. It's not smart. It's looking for keywords and very predictable, rigid formatting.
So all those fancy graphics, the text boxes, the columns.
The ATS often can't parse it. It might read a 2-column CV as one long, jumbled sentence. Or worse, it just misses your job titles or dates, and boom, you're instantly marked as unqualified.
So what you're saying is, for a big corporate job application, you have to strip away anything dynamic. You're choosing function over form.
Absolutely. The machine needs simple, standard formatting, a single column, common font like Arial or Calibri, and this is crucial, very specific section headers.
So no, My Amazing Journey.
No, you use professional experience, it's safer. The whole service is about making sure the document speaks the language of the software so the right keywords get picked up and you get a high enough score to even reach a human.
That's a brilliant distinction. It's a technical solution for a technical bottleneck, but then that raises a strategic question, doesn't it?
No.
If you're applying to, say, a small startup where you know a person is reading it first, doesn't a sleek modern CV have more power?
It does, because in that situation, you're immediately in the human marketing phase. That's why offering both is so smart. The applicant has to pick their strategy based on the company.
A document for the machine will bore the human.
And a document for the human will confuse the machine. This company is basically giving you the weapon for either fight.
That sets us up perfectly for the next level of specialization, moving beyond just tech versus aesthetics. Now we get into the really specific formats that show deep international and even sectoral expertise.
This is where it goes from technical compliance to cultural and even legal compliance. It shows they understand a CV isn't just a list of jobs. It's a culturally specific document.
And the sources list them out: Canadian, Europass, UAE applications, and USA CVs. Let's break that down. Why can't I just use my US CV in Europe?
The differences are they're profound, and they're often tied to local laws. Take the Europass CV, which is standard in a lot of the EU. It often requires personal data, your age, a photo, marital status. Things that would be a huge red flag in the US. The structure is very standardized and skills-based.
Now contrast that with the USA CV.
That's a dramatic contrast. In the U.S., because of strict anti-discrimination laws, you're told never to include a photo, your age, marital status. None of that.
So a U.S. hiring manager getting a Europass CV with a photo might just...
They might just toss it to avoid any perceived legal risk. The U.S. format is all about quantifiable results, professional info only. Sending the wrong one is a huge strategic mistake.
That makes the need for a tailored approach so clear, but then you have the UAE on the list. What's unique there?
The UAE is another complex case. You're often expected to include professional licensing details, your residency status, and a high-quality professional photo is often required. There's a much greater emphasis on presentation and cultural fit.
So for someone job hunting on 3 different continents, they actually need 3 completely different documents.
Not just minor tweaks, fundamentally different strategic documents. The implication for you, the listener, is massive. If you're going global, your paperwork has to change dramatically.
Absolutely. And then they pivot from geography to sector. This is another crucial one listed. CVs for NGOs, non-governmental organizations.
Right.
That's a huge point. It's not just about borders, it's about organizational values. How is an NGO CV different from one for, a big corporation?
The priorities are night and day. A corporate CV talks about profit margins, cost savings, revenue. Yeah. An NGO CV has to highlight mission alignment, your resilience, maybe experience with grant cycles or development projects.
So you're selling your alignment with a mission, not shareholder value.
Precisely. The whole format needs to emphasize volunteer work, field experience, language skills, a real commitment to the cause. This kind of specialization shows they have writers who understand that world.
And that level of knowledge is what turns a simple document into a real career door opener.
That's the idea.
Which brings us to the promise side of this. The credibility claims. It's not just what they can do, but how long they say they've been doing it. They cite over 11 years in the industry.
And 11 plus years in this market. I mean, a market that's been reshaped by recessions, by the rise of ATS, by remote work. That's a colossal trust signal.
It's not a fly-by-night operation.
It implies they've adapted through all of that change. When the stakes are high, longevity means reliability. Their strategies have clearly worked for over a decade.
And they back it up with a pretty clear statement. Many have gotten jobs through our service. It shifts the focus from just, writing something to delivering a result.
And that's where the full name comes back into play. Professional CV crafting and career door openers. They're not selling you a piece of paper. They're selling you access.
Let's analyze that phrase, career door openers. Is that just clever branding, or is there a real strategic element here that goes beyond just formatting?
I think it's both. The branding is great, but the specializations we just talked about, ATS compliance, knowing the UAE format, understanding NGO language, those are the keys.
So the service is the strategy.
The service is the strategy. They are opening doors by getting you past those invisible barriers that trip up most people. They make sure your document speaks the right language for the right gatekeepers.
And for someone who's already stressed out, just getting this help needs to be easy. They list a bunch of ways to get in touch: DM, WhatsApp, call, and email.
That variety is very telling. Job seekers are often on tight deadlines. Offering instant messaging like WhatsApp shows they're built for speed and responsiveness.
It acknowledges the urgency of it all.
Exactly. It's a key part of that trust relationship. You need to know you can reach the expert when that application deadline is staring you down.
This has been a really, really informative look at how a modern service is tackling these hidden complexities. Let's try to bring this all together for the listener. What are the key takeaways?
I think the central takeaway is that as a job seeker, you're not just competing against other people anymore. Yeah. Competing against filters. Technological filters, cultural filters, legal filters.
And a single generic document is basically a liability now.
It's an active strategic liability.
So this service, it addresses career stagnation by segmenting the market in two ways. First, by technical compliance, the sleek modern for the human, the ATS compliant for the machine.
Right.
And second, by having that hyper-specific regional and sectoral knowledge for Canada, Europe, the UAE, the US, and NGOs.
Just confirms that to succeed in this global job market, you need tailored documents just to get past the first screen, whether that screen is software or a regional norm like Europass.
Absolutely. And that leads us to the final provocative thought we want to leave you with. It builds on this whole idea of specialized formats. It raises a really important question for your own strategy. If a professional service with over a decade of experience needs to specialize in 5 or more drastically different CV types to open doors, how crucial is it for you to know precisely which format your target job requires and the cultural or legal reason behind it before you even start writing?
It shifts the work. It's not just about writing anymore, it's about strategic intelligence gathering. Knowing your gatekeeper, whether it's a machine or a cultural norm, is the first step to actually getting that interview, something to mull over as you plan your next move.